Okay, so hello everyone. Today is Saturday, October the 7th, and we are continuing in our study of the Gospel of Thomas. And let me go ahead and bring that up. I was just getting ready to do that, but everything had so many things getting in the way that I forgot. So let me bring it up. That would be handy if we already had that visible. And of course, my computer wants to run slow this morning or this afternoon. So,
Is it cloudy up there?
yeah, it is. And I don't know how come sometimes, oh gosh, and see now it's not, I don't know, it's not bringing it up. My screen, let me put this on pause. Hold on a second. Everybody.
Okay.
I got to get this straightened out now.
You mean recording?
Okay, well, we've had much drama today this morning. We've had a lot of drama. So getting back, we are continuing in our study of the Gospel of Thomas. Today is Saturday, October the 7th, and we are going to begin with I guess verse 24. And I don't even think that these have chapters. I think they just have verses, right?
It looks that way. I don't see.
It doesn't seem it appears to be different. But anyway, that's something else that we can talk about before we get started, is the differences between the Gospel of Thomas and the synoptic gospels, which are Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and then John in itself. So let's just begin in prayer.
Okay.
Forrest, would you like to start us off in prayer?
Sure. So excited to be all connected to the source of God. Thank God for deliverance in all of us today. We're presently to receive the messages that we can get that we grow spiritually. We ask God that you will come into this group session and all people that are here with us today. We give you hope, wisdom, freedom, and joy. And all connected to you, which is the source of God. Thank you for allowing us to be present. And so it is.
And so
it is.
Thank you. Well, yeah, let's just chat a few minutes, because one of the things that we did want to do is talk about where we are in the world at this time that Thomas was writing this, who Thomas is. I was just, I watch TikTok where I get all my news, information, and entertainment. And I would just watched a video where this person is speculating whether Thomas was Jesus's twin, because as we read from the beginning, that Thomas means twin. And when we started in the commentary, is Didymus means twin in Greek. So is Jesus's twin, or was it like a twin flame type of relationship, where where you have your soulmate. Not soulmates, of course, are not always romantically involved. Soulmates are people that we are aligned with in our own particular soul group that we choose from our ethereal consciousness. As we lower ourselves into these bodies, we are generally stuck with or stay with our soul group. Somebody might be a mother one lifetime, somebody might be a friend another lifetime, somebody might be a mate another lifetime, somebody might be a beloved pet in another lifetime. So we all so this is part of, so this could be a part of that soul group. So I think that was an interesting concept. Nothing that I have heard of before, but we do have, so many things are speculated about these lost books of the Bible. So what are your thoughts, Harriet?
I agree with what you said, and I feel like that the powers that be, for whatever reason, left so much out of the Bible that they just didn't want us to know about. And I often, one of the thoughts that often crosses my mind is that Christians have set Jesus up in the same manner that modern historians have set up Thomas Jefferson. He can do no wrong. And I'm not saying that Jesus did wrong, but what I'm saying is they want us to believe that he is not even human. That's what they're trying to make us believe. But he came to earth as a human being. He was born just like all the rest of us. The difference between his birth and ours is that it took two to make us. It only took his mother and the Holy Spirit to create him. And that is what makes him so special and so perfect. And in the human mind, I think they refuse to believe that he is a man with manly desires. Right now, I am reading the Lost Years of Jesus. I just started it a couple of days ago, so don't ask me anything about it at this point, because I haven't gotten far enough into the book to really see what's going on. But the one thing that I have picked up on in reading it, that he traveled, and if you look at what he is teaching, when you read the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, his teachings, the things that he's trying to teach his disciples and the rest of the world, is very akin or attuned to the philosophy and the teachings of Eastern philosophy, such as Hinduism and Buddhism. And at one point, and of course, this Elizabeth Clare Prophet, in writing the book, she has kind of indicated that this is possible and it's not possible, but the manuscripts that she has found, they have referred to this, and it's referred to an individual by the name of Isis, Isses, I think is how it's spelled. But they're not confirming, nor are they denying it. But as far as I have gotten, that's still questionable kind of thing. But like I said, when you look at his teachings, the way he's teaching and what he's teaching, and the concepts and philosophies that Hinduism and Buddhism espouse to, they're pretty much in line with each other. And so I don't doubt that he didn't travel to the Far East and during those so-called lost years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and one of the things, how about you, Forrest? What are your thoughts?
I'm just listening right now, trying to figure out.
Okay. Well, one of the things that that I find it interesting, and I guess this is one of the things that I guess we could or we should be doing. And me, I'm going to include myself here because I didn't I didn't do my homework to prepare for today's class. But one of the things that when we are understanding is how all of the different societies have taught their religions. How religions and how the religions and their societies blossomed or grew or fell. How their spirituality merged into their religions. One of the things that I had sent you recently from off of TikTok, of course, is one of the things that uh it kind of predated Judaism. And I guess
Oh
this
yeah,
is,
Yahweh,
yeah,
Yahwism.
yeah,
Is that the
Yahweh.
one you?
Yes, uh-huh. And when you think of that, because Abraham was from the land of Ur, you are,
Mm-hmm.
and that land already had a religion. It already had a basis, and unfortunately, I don't know what that was.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that I can find out. It can't be hard to find out. So, but because and the spirit or essence or source or God or whoever, whatever that higher level of consciousness directed Abraham to move from that area to go to another area
Establish a
to
new nation.
establish a different form of consciousness,
Mm.
which
Never
or
thought about
different
it that way.
philosophy. Yeah. So
I,
when
I,
mm, go
no, I
ahead.
was just going to say I never thought about it in that way.
Mm-hmm. So as we begin to really start to pay attention to how you know the different cultures and what the cultures needed from their sense of spirituality, and why did they need it. I'm sure that the person in the desert and the person in the city needed two different types of reality, had two different types of reality, so they had to have something else that dictated their response to what they were experiencing in this life. And
Mm.
that's a lot of times how we understand how to merge spirituality, psychology, and society together. And I think that a lot of times when you were stating, Harriet, that many people have seemed to just brought Jesus around and to worship him, and that was not what his direction was. He even stated that in many of his speeches and discourses. Don't worship me. I'm not the one.
Right.
Worship the Father. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and he was telling people that. But
And
because we have become so associated with these physical bodies, we have turned the thing that we can see, the materialized, the thing that we can see, touch, feel, hear, that is sensory for us. That's the thing that we have put on a higher standard. So as our role model,
mm-hmm.
or as an example. And I think that that's one of the things that we can see when we're talking about Jesus. So when we're talking about Thomas, it was never mentioned in any of the Gospels that Mary had any kind of twins. So it's really, but it really wasn't even from what I could see. I can't. I in my reading, I didn't read where Thomas was a brother of Jesus. Now James, yes, I can
Yeah,
see where
because I
James
think I
was.
think I think the in the four gospels they mentioned four brothers, but Thomas was not among them. The
Mhm.
name Thomas was not among them. That's what I'm trying to
Right.
say.
So, but I mean, that's still something that we can look into, because it is interesting to see, well, what do we know about Thomas, and why was Thomas so important, and that Thomas had a gospel that he wrote on his own, and that that we're able to now study and see, you know the benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So I have a question.
um
Go ahead.
and I
Well,
know
Forrest had a question. No, Forrest has a question.
oh, okay, go ahead.
Area, what is in the dictionary that the word consciousness? What does the dictionary say? Consciousness. What is that? What does the dictionary say? Consciousness.
What
He
did they?
asked, he asked, what, can you define consciousness from the dictionary?
Hold
Can
on.
can we hold on that to, can we pin that, put a pin in that so we can just kind of stay focused on Thomas right now, if you don't mind? And yeah, we can come back to that. Because and just, or just to say what we're talking about in conversation. When we're talking about consciousness, we're not only talking about the consciousness that where we are right now, that we are conscious of this moment, but the consciousness, our higher levels of consciousness, which is above, which is our spiritual essence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's where we are in conversation when we're talking about consciousness. But Harriet, put a pin in that so that we can give that come back to that and give that definition back for Forrest. Don't let us forget that.
Right.
But Harriet, you were about to say something?
I forgot now what it was. Sorry about that.
No, but but no. But I think that those are things that are important, and for us to understand who Thomas the disciple was, because we have always heard that Thomas was the doubting one.
Right. I know, but I remember now what.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Thomas, the name means twin. And what I'm thinking is what you had alluded to earlier, or what you had said earlier, is that they were probably soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
And and their souls were so closely aligned that they could be considered twins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
then sometimes people look just like. People look just alike, you say, oh yeah, well, here comes your twin. Oh, y'all dressed alike today. Y'all already look alike. So now both of you got on red today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
and have you known couples that have been together so long and they are so into each other that they begin to look like each other?
Oh, I know a lot of couples like that.
Yeah.
That's how they start off. They start off looking like each other. Yeah. And I think that that's also a way of being attracted to somebody.
Exactly.
But, yeah. But with Thomas, with Thomas, of who he was at this particular point in time, because we are, from what we are reading, these are words that Thomas actually wrote, whereas Mark and Matthew are not necessarily the authors of those gospels, but they were sayings, and the people who wrote them compiled the sayings, and then so their compilations became the Gospel of Mark, the Gospel of Matthew. Now, it's also believed that Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke, but Luke was like 70 years after the physician of Luke was like 70 years after the death of Jesus.
I read that he did write it sometime after he was crucified. But forgot what I was going to say now. Luke also wrote the gospel. I'm sorry, the Acts of the Apostles. So he talks about, and probably what he has written, because at one point in time, we learned that he is, at some point in time during the reading, and I don't know whether it was in the book of Luke or in one of the other gospels, that we learned that he is a doctor. So he is a person a scholarly person, so therefore he would have done the research, and perhaps what he has written, even though it's years after the birth, the death and resurrection and ascension of Jesus, he's a scholarly type that perhaps would not be writing something unless he was absolutely sure of it. And that's just my opinion.
Mhm. But that's also something that we can look at. We can find out. I mean, we don't, so the John from the Gospel of John was also a contemporary of Jesus, where
Right.
Matthew, Mark probably was not. We're not.
Wasn't Matthew one of the eventually became one of the disciples, because he was
There were disciples that were named Matthew and Mark, but the authors of the Gospels were not those people.
Oh, okay. Now
They were like editors or they compiled. That's the word. They compiled the information,
Okay.
edited, and that's where they got that information from.
One other thing too, I read somewhere, and this has been quite some time, and I could have misread it at the time that I was reading it, but it's somewhere back in time, I came across some information that Thomas in his gospel reveals some of the information, or talks about those lost years that Elizabeth Clare Prophet talks about in her book. Like I said, I haven't gotten far enough into the book to be able to discuss any of it yet, but between the Gospel of Thomas and the lost years of Jesus, I think I'll know something soon.
And so these are so I think that this is some of the things that are very interesting and important to know. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Your mama just called you. Why is he on sleep? Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah, he's sleeping. Oh wow, I just got pizza, some breadsticks. There's plenty of food, but that's all right. That they'll eat, they'll save too. But anyway, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, so most of the time when we do Bible study, we just study the words that are written down in the Bible and not the background. And it's important to understand who the authors were, what were they going through, what were they living through, what were the experiences. Because when we think about most of Paul's writings, he was in prison.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's
that has a lot
of desperation.
Exactly. And what you're going through at the time has a lot to do with how you express yourself in those writings.
Yeah. And if you're on the run, you're some of the things you might you might not have a full awareness, or whatever, is something is in a particular area, you will be slanted to that view. So these are some of the things that I think that are important when we are reading, when we're doing this study. And the study of the Gospel of Thomas, it really it helps to understand that this person is probably more than likely a contemporary of Yeshua at the time. So the things that he has written down was because he heard the words directly, and was able to convey that information. And that's why some of the things are different than what we got into most of the other gospels. Some of the
Mhm.
things are the same that what we have read. We have read some of the things that are very familiar. Um, see, like, but then we have read some things that we hadn't heard before, like, you know, like we were reading in 22 and 23. Where was it? Where, you know, something is okay. 22 says, uh, when you make the one, when you make the two one, when you make the inside like the outside, that's nowhere in any of those other gospels. That this type of information is different. And so when you're reading things like this, it helps to give you a little bit more uh, information so that you can understand the lifestyle of what Jesus was talking about at the time, um, and the depth of his awareness, really.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Forrest, you got any comments or questions? Okay, so yeah, let's do the consciousness question.
Okay. According to the Oxford.
Okay, Harry is about to read. Can you hear Harriet? Forrest, can you hear Harriet? She's about to read your the definition. Okay.
Okay. The noun is the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings. Did he hear that?
Yes, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Harriet.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So, you know, so like right now, we're conscious of where we are at this moment. You know,
Mhm.
we're not, you know, our thoughts aren't somewhere else. You know, we're conscious of doing the study, we're paying attention. So we are aware of where we are at this moment.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That was a great question, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so starting with 24, and let's see if I can zoom this in and make it a little bit bigger. I know it never gets bigger than this. It says it's 100%. So, yep, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, if you put it back to go back to where you were, where to zoom in, because you can make it a little bit bigger.
This is as big as it went because it was already at 100%.
Yeah, but it can go to 125 or 150.
Okay, well, I don't know how to get back there.
Oh,
Yeah, so let's not worry about it.
okay.
Okay. Okay, verse 24. His disciples said to him, "Show us the place where you are, since it is necessary for us to seek it." He said to them, "Whoever has ears, let him hear. There is light within a man of light, and he or it lights up the whole world. If he or it does not shine, he or it is darkness." Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it says his disciples said that to him, let's see, I gotta find out. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's the infancy of Thomas. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to find my here we go. 301. Yeah, so when he's saying when the disciples ask him, "Show us the place where you are," and when you're thinking about just that level of consciousness, and I think that that's what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe if we go back up to 23, Jesus says, I shall choose you 1 out of 1,000 and 2 out of 10,000, and they shall stand as a single one." And so 24 says, his disciples said to him, "Show us the place where you are, since it is necessary for us to seek it." And I think that this is what I'm getting from it, that he's talking about levels of consciousness. He's not talking
Mhm.
about physical places. The disciples aren't asking about physical places.
Right.
What
And
the-
I,
Go
I,
ahead.
I was, I was going to say, and when you read on further where there is light within a person, that's that consciousness that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think that that's what they when they're saying and because they're talking about the kingdom.
Mhm.
Because going back up to 22, Jesus said to them, when you make the two one, and you make the inside like the outside like the inside, and the above like the below, and when you make the male and the female one and the same, so that the male not be male nor the female female, and when you fashion eyes in the place of an eye, and the hand in the place of a hand, and a foot in the place of a foot, and a likeness in a place of a likeness, then you will enter the kingdom. And so this is what the disciples is saying, show us where you are, show us where you are, show us that level of consciousness, so that we can also be there, because we're going to need it. It's going to be necessary for us to seek it. And
Mhm.
Jesus is saying, whoever has ears, let him hear.
That's right.
And if a man, if there is light within a man, and so let's talk about light for a moment. Light is awareness. Light can also be, like an illumination. Light
Mhm.
can be visible. Light can be, a something that guides. What is your thoughts on light, Forrest? Light. What are your thoughts on light? Light.
I think it's that's it. God is the light of God. So when we talk about the light of God, so for me, that's light means energy.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah. What are your thoughts, Harriet?
Well, to me, I would just substitute the word the word consciousness for light, because what was that definition of consciousness again? The state of being awake and aware of one's surrounding. And when you have your eyes open, you can see the light. You are conscious of your surrounding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of being aware, awake and aware.
Yeah. Also, even if you are at this level of consciousness that is where you are a part of your ethereal body, because when you think about who Jesus was as as a mortal here on earth, his body was so in tune with his higher level of consciousness, that his body could do whatever his consciousness willed it to do. If his body was hungry, his body willed fruit to come up. And that's why he was pissed off with that tree that time.
That
Because that even though the tree wasn't in season, it still should have produced fruit, because of
he was hungry at the time and he wanted something to eat.
Yeah, but the scientific value of this earth plane is that consciousness is the thing that rules. And if our minds are so advanced that we can say to this thing, pick up and
Move
die,
this mountain, yeah.
or die because you didn't give me fruit when I said give me fruit, then that's how that is the level of power that these bodies have. And I think that those are the things that make people confused with witchcraft. They confuse it with magic. but it's really a scientific quotient that your ethereal body, your conscious, your ethereal mind is so is forms your around your physical body so much that your physical body relates itself to the environment around. Very much like, very much like the Matrix. So that we meld in with our environment as much as we can move around through it. But we have to I like when Forrest said energy. Our minds have to be energized at that level. It has to run at full capacity all the time. And I think that's why Jesus said, whoever has ears to hear, there is light within a man. I mean, there is light within a man of light. So that to me is that ethereal body. There's light within that man of light. And he or it lights up the whole world. So can you imagine? I mean, we're still talking about, and for some odd reason, it's always 2,000 years. And it was 2,000 years when I was a child. I was watching something on TV, and one of the people back from the 1400s had said, that 2,000 years ago with Jesus. So 2,000 years obviously is a really, really long time. It never gets up to 2003 or 2030 or 3,000. Is always 2,000 years. I don't know why that is the secret number or the special number.
I have no idea.
But when we think about it, as we are still talking about these words of light that Jesus mentioned 2,000 words, 2,000, all those many years ago.
Right.
We're still talking about the words of light that Buddha, discussed all those many years ago. And I'm sure that, or Confucius or any of the other great masters that I just don't know about.
Right.
We want to move on. I kind of wanted to talk about this right here. That last sentence: if he or it does not shine, he or it is darkness. And I think that's kind of amazing when we're talking about, it's kind of like either or. It's light or it is darkness.
And when you think about the yin yang symbols, yin yang symbol, one is light and the other is dark, but in the center of each one, in the center of light, there's a spot of darkness, and in the center of darkness, there's a spot of light. And I find that rather interesting in light of this statement here. If he or it does not shine, he or it is darkness. But there's and I think those little dots of light and dark are just, I guess the best way to put it is that flaw in us as humans. No matter how we try to be, this radiant light, there's still that bit of darkness that's there. And it's okay as long as we can keep it suppressed.
Or it just needs to be enlightened.
Mhm.
You know, if we allow light in, you know, because some things that are not all darkness is bad,
Exactly.
you know, so that
Because plants have to have certain amount of darkness before they can sprout. A seed has to
darkness
have.
is when we have our best rest,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
And
you know,
sleep.
it's go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, and sleep therapists say that we get the best sleep when we are in total darkness.
Mm-hmm. 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 And so I just find that line to be interesting. I was looking to see if I had anything in my book, you know, in the what you call it, in the footnotes, but I don't see anything that indicates that line.
Mm.
But I do know that that line is I know that usually has to do, let's see, it does say 24:3. Let's see, 24. Yeah, that's also in Luke and Matthew. So Luke and Matthew discuss that quotation as well. Okay, number 25. Jesus said, "Love your friends like your own soul." I mean, I'm looking at my book. Let me read it here from it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus says, "Love your brother like your own soul. Guard him like the pupil of your eye." Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that, Forrest?
So I have one question. So it, what does the it mean?
Mhm.
What is it? That's my question.
The it is the kingdom.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
What about that cook?
Oh, they gone? Your mom said she bought you some fries. And then here's your so you can eat your fries and you can eat your breadsticks.
Some.
Mm-hmm. Here you go.
What about that cook?
Bye-bye. Okay, I'm sorry.
Good job.
Okay, yeah, the king, the it is the kingdom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's where also what you were talking about, Harriet, in the beginning of our session is that when we are only seeing things. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Obviously, I'm doing my class right now, so let me finish my class. I gotta pray, everybody.
Amen. Good job.
Amen. Good job. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. We had to say our grace.
What about that cook? What about
Okay,
I can work it out.
yeah, so the yeah, so Forrest, so what when you say you thought it was deep, what do you mean by that? As in the sentence was love your brother like your soul, guard him like the pupil of your eye.
So I just believe that's true. It's about being aware of where you are in the spiritual journey. So I can say like when we talk about soulmate, it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be soul to soul. It doesn't have to always be romantic.
Uh-oh. I think my phone might have went dead. Oh no. Forrest, are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay, great. I
Yes.
was hoping that I didn't lose the call because my phone is about to go dead. Okay, good. So what were you saying about the soulmates? Yes. 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 Did you hear that, Harriet?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I just closed my door too, so make it a little bit quieter in here. Forrest said that about soulmates. Excuse me, because when we're looking at this sentence, love your brother like your soul, guard him like the pupil of your eye. So one of the things that we always shield are our eyes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We always protect our eyes, no matter if something happens. The first thing we do is cover our eyes. So
Yeah.
this is like saying that's how we're supposed to love our brother, or love our friend, or love our neighbor, or love that person that we say we don't like. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to love that person the same way we got our own peoples of our eyes. And what would the world really truly be if we actually behaved like that?
Wouldn't have the turmoil that we do see going on around us.
Yeah. And you know, and we would be willing to see it from somebody else's perspective. And I think that this is what this is saying too. You know, how am I perceiving my brother, and I'm protecting my brother the way that I can see this person? You know, so that like a lot of times in religion, unless you are in the same religion with me, I don't see you as valuable. I'm not going to call you brother. I'm going to call you something else, you know, demonic or something else, because I don't like you, trust you, or whatever. But I think that Jesus is saying here is this is how we have to love one another.
Mm-hmm.
Love your brother like your soul. What are your thoughts, Harriet?
I was just thinking about that, and it's being able to open ourselves to see everyone, no matter what their flaws or what their thoughts or whatever about them, that they don't see things the way we do. Doesn't the Bible tell us that humans were made in the image of God? And every one of us is a child of God, no matter what, whether you err or not. And I use the word err rather than sin, because no matter what, we're still, and we have to send love to everybody, because I'm trying to think. When we send love, okay, personal experience. I lived in New York for a number of years, and my husband and I had some property up in Harlem, and it was in not a very, what you would call, good neighborhood. And there were a lot of drug addicts around, and I would go and come to work, go back and forth, to work. And whenever I came to our doorstep, if there were drug addicts or whatever on the doorstep, they would step aside. They didn't bother me. They didn't try to harm me. And I shouldn't say this, but I kind of pride myself in always trying to see the best in people, as opposed to seeing the difficulties in people. And I think that those individuals, no matter how high they were on whatever substance they were on, they felt the love that I was sending to them, and that's why they didn't harm me. As a matter of fact, I think in some instances, they might have been there more or less to protect me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that I agree with you, because when this sentence really implies it, when you love your brother like your soul,
mhm,
you know, I think that the more we develop love for our own souls, it's easier to love somebody else, because you can, first of all, you don't judge them.
exactly.
Um, you don't you can um accept them as they are, because people are choosing whatever life experience for whatever task that they need at the moment.
Exactly. And that is why I feel like if you're not being Christ-like when you ostracize or you push away people that have that that whatever they espouse to in this life as they walk this earth that is different um, from the way we see things, because I feel like every gay, lesbian, transgender, whatever, they are put on this earth for a reason. They are to teach those of us that claim to be Christ-like. They are here to teach us tolerance. And if we can tolerate them and send them love, then we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just that's just my that's my
Mm-hmm.
feeling about that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when we love our own souls,
Unconditionally.
yeah, when we love our own souls,
Mm-hmm.
we will begin to understand that other person has a soul too.
Exactly. Exactly.
And and the more we gain uh wisdom, illumination in that area, it's easier for us to um be protective
Mm-hmm.
of these people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
and but I think it comes from constant growth.
Yes.
Just love by itself is not something that is um what you call it, it's not inherent, it's not only inherent, it's not only inside you. You just don't love your child because you love your
It's your
child.
child.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you don't love your spouse because it's your spouse. So you have to work at loving people. You have to continue, it has to continually grow in
Mm-hmm.
response from one condition, situation to another. And if we stop learning how to love ourselves, then I'm not going to try to love you. I'm not going to try to, love them over there if I have cut off and say that they're not worthy of my love. Then I'm not allowing myself to grow in love.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think when we show love and kindness to others. Now, yeah, there are people in this world. We should send love to everybody, but there are people in this world that we would just as soon not be around. What I call people that you love at a distance. And there are people that you send love to, but you keep your distance as far as those individuals are concerned. Hold on just a second.
Okay. You want me to pause?
No,
Okay.
no.
So, Forrest, you were about to say something. What were you about to say? Mm-hmm.
Here's a perfect example. So my dear friend is in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
not home. And so he says, Boss, want to get out of the hospital soon. He says, can you send me $50? So what I did, I sent him $95. So that for me was the action of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doing the extra of showing love. It's not just about the word of mouth, it's love in action. So he used my mother, for example. I feel like she could be my soulmate because she's seen her energy. It's the action how she shows her love. So I think we talk about love. Yes, that's romantic love. It's also the action of love.
Mm-hmm. 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 Exactly. Exactly.
I didn't hear what he said. I could hear him talking, but
He
I
said
it
love is
wasn't.
also an action.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Is how you act in that love.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's move on to number 26. Okay, and this is one that we have. This is one that's very familiar. Jesus said, "You see the mote in your brother's eye, but you do not see the beam in your own eye. When you cast the beam out of your own eye, then you will see clearly and cast the mote from your brother's eye." And that's one of the things that I see. I'm gonna talk about TikTok again, but you know how the algorithms go. So sometimes, so right now, for some odd reason, I'm on the algorithm where about the white people who are going through their anti-racist phase, and they're learning how to be anti-racist. And luckily for me, I'm just like, I can just scroll through and see how white people are learning how to be anti-racist, and they can't see themselves as racist. But another white person can describe racism to them in a way that relates to them. So that's that where Jesus is saying, you gotta, you see a mote in your brother's eye, racism, but you don't see the beam in your own eye.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to learn how to see the bigger part of truth that fits, that is offending you or affecting you or effecting you, in order for you to help somebody else. Because one of the questions that had came up, and I don't know who this creator is, but she was talking about, there's a singer called Iniko, and she made the song Jericho. But one of the things is that there is a white Christian lady who has taken all of her words and changed the song around so that it would be a Christian song. Okay, well, there's some legal stuff that go with that. You can't just do it because you want to. Mm-hmm. But she did it because she wanted to, because she said that God told her to, because then she's going to all of this part where and then she's talking about demons and calling the girl a demon, all of this. And so now like I said, the algorithm where I'm on right now with the white people learning about how to be anti-racist, they're really trying to help her see herself as being racist. But she is still holding on, she's digging in, and she's refusing to see the beam that's in her eye, but yet she wants to call somebody's property that she has stolen and that she's a demon. So she's seeing somebody else's moat, and that's not even really a moat. I mean, the girl came up with a song.
That's a whole tree.
That's her business. It's not even a moat. It's her business. But she is so busy trying to find someone else's faults that she can't see her own fault. And I think that when we are allowing ourselves, like Jesus is saying here, to see our faults and the enormity of our faults, how big our faults are, and how much chaos our faults are causing. Then once we cast that out, then it's easier to cast out somebody else's, or help them see themselves in a different light. And I think that's what many of these creators are trying to ease her into another level, a higher level of consciousness. That it's hard for you to call yourself a Christian when you are stealing somebody else's property, and you're calling them a demon because you want it. But I think, as we mature in our own levels of consciousness, that's why I think that loving ourselves, just like when Jesus said, love your brother like your soul. See, I have to really learn what my soul is, and who my soul is, and what my soul is about, before I can actually love you and love your soul, and not try to take advantage of you, not trying to harm you or hinder you any, or take or steal from you, or harm you in any way. Harriet, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I know, I was just listening. I didn't realize you were done.
No. I was just thinking that I know you said you had to step away, so I just wanted to know.
No, I just said just a minute. That's all. No, you didn't lose me. I was listening to what you had to say, and I was thinking about it, and so many thoughts crossed my mind as you were talking. First of all, that woman that stole the other person's copyrights, first of all, she had no right to do that to begin with. But to me, she's being judgmental, and we are told that we shouldn't judge. And when you judge somebody, you're accusing them of something, but when you point that finger of accusation at another individual, you got three pointing back at you. So when you accuse somebody of something, stop and think about, okay, do I have something here that I need to correct before you go accusing somebody else? There's a lot, in that story that you just told about that woman. She's being judgmental. She's not, as you say, she's not seeing the tree. She got the whole tree in her eye, not just a chip. She got a whole tree or moat or whatever.
Not a beam.
and it's blinding her. It's blinding her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And here I am being judgmental.
Well, I mean, but that's observation. I think there's one thing that's observation, and there's another thing of judgment, because, and I think that that's why I think that language is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have been taught that this is what this thing is, and it's not necessarily so. And going back to that, the lady the one who has taken the girl's music, I think that she thinks that she's in the right because she heard it, and she says that the Holy Spirit told her to change the words to make it more palatable for Christians.
Okay, can I just say something?
Yeah.
It's okay if she does it for her own personal use. But if she's going to do it and then try and capitalize on it, or, yeah, that's the best word I can use. capitalize on it. No, she has no right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And and that's what the majority of the creators are trying to get her to see, is that you know, where her level of consciousness is, you know, if your level of consciousness is that God says that all white people are always right. You know, if God says that, you know, if these are the things that what we have learned throughout our however, whenever people became white, which was what, back in the 1400s, when people became white, you know, when whiteness became a thing based on economics, where, you know, if this is your level of consciousness, you have to expand. You should want to expand your level of consciousness to be more inclusive of just of not only who you think that God is, but because, you know, but just, you know, you can't call somebody something that you don't know anything else about. You don't even have enough information. And just because this is something that has happened throughout time and throughout history, now people are here to help you, and these people are coming in. They're very loving. They're not mean. They're being very precise. They're using precise language so that the only reason that she can't see it now, I think, is because she doesn't want to see it. But she keeps responding because she wants to see it. You know, that's in my own personal opinion, because every time you turn around, here's another video of her explaining why, you know, it's okay for her to do this.
Or is it her determination to be right and everybody else wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I mean that too. But then, you know, the only way that you continue to present it to other people is because you are seeing that they're right. You are seeing that they're right. You just don't want to acknowledge it. But as long as you are continuing the conversation, you know that you're learning. You know that you have the ability to change. And maybe this is, you know, some people, it takes a long time for people, and racism is a big thing to overcome. You know, I mean, we have what America's been here, what, how many years? 400 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so
it's been here for eons. We just see now.
I'm just talking about racism in America. This is
okay.
where I think that this lady right here is confused. Is because for these 400 years, this lifespan that she has had in America is so entrenched. Racism is so entrenched that it's normalized. It's just like the air. She can't see it. And when people are trying to show her that this is what it is, she's having a difficult time trying to see it because it's so entrenched. And Forrest says that's because that's what she was taught, and that's what
exactly.
And this has always been her experience. It's just that now she's being challenged on it, and she's not used to and when you're challenged on what's that thing in the Course of Miracles, when you're challenged on your belief, that's where you have that paradigm shift. Is that what it was? When you're challenged on your belief. I don't know, but I do know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it
I
right
know,
now.
you know, like that causes what cosmic dissidence, when you are challenged on your belief, and now you have to see it different. because it's there, but you're still holding on to your thing that you believe in, but the ground is shaky now.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's this is what I think that I'm seeing, I'm witnessing all the time when I'm seeing this happening on TikTok. And that's why I love TikTok so much. I think that I'm seeing her shift and change her belief system, because she keeps sparring with people who are telling her, where in a loving but firm manner, where she is off course, and where the course is. And I think that I think that the only reason that she's still trying to make her way right is because she knows that she's not right.
She's in the briar patch, and she refuses to come out.
Yeah, and and it's just like the Eight of Swords. You're really not bound up. All the bindings are loose. The swords that look to be surrounding you, they're really far off. You can get around them, so you're not as bound up as you think that you are.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have let's see, where are we on time? Oh, it's 3:30. Oh, but we started like 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
But we can read a couple of more sentences. So
and the book, the Gospel of Thomas, is much like the book of Jude, just one chapter.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. 26 says, oh, I just read 26, right? Yeah. 27. Jesus said, if you do not fast as regards the world, you will not find the kingdom. If you do not observe the Sabbath as a Sabbath, you will not see the Father. I'm going to read 27 and 28 at the same time.
Okay.
28 says, I took my place in the midst of the world, and I appeared to them in the flesh. I found all of them intoxicated. I found none of them thirsty. My soul became afflicted for the sons of men, because they are blind in their hearts and do not have sight. For empty they came into the world, and empty too they seek to leave the world. But for the moment they are intoxicated. When they shake off their wine, they will repent. Oh, wow, that's a really big one right there.
Yeah.
When Jesus, so I'm gonna read the two together as one sentence. If you do not fast as regards the world, you will not find the kingdom. If you do not observe the Sabbath as a Sabbath, you will not see the Father. Jesus said, I took my place in the midst of the world, and I appeared to them in the flesh. I found them all intoxicated. I found none of them thirsty. My soul became afflicted for the sons of men, because they are blind in their hearts and do not have sight. For empty they came into the world, and empty too they seek to leave the world. But for the moment they are intoxicated. When they shake off their wine, they will repent. So that's a big one. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that, Harriet? I'll let you start off this time.
Yeah, you would do that to me, because that requires some thought before I open my mouth. Unless you fast from the world, in other words, remove yourself from the things of this world, you will in no way find the kingdom of God unless you observe the Sabbath as a Sabbath. So in other words, what he's emphasizing there to me is take that time to withdraw. the book of Genesis tells us that God rested after 7 days of creating the world. And when we say 7 days, that's a whole lot of time. You know, as we read further on in the Bible, a year is as 1,000. A year, you know, to God is like 1,000 to us. So what he's telling us that we really need to withdraw periodically. And from what I'm gathering there is we need to withdraw on a regular basis. In other words, schedule time to withdraw so that we can, you know, well, withdraw from the world and go within, taking time to look within ourselves and become more Christ-like. I think it's the best way that I can put it. Jesus said, I stood in the midst of the world. In the flesh, I appeared to them. I found them all drunk. I found none thirsty among them. So they were so filled with things of the world. And he goes on to say that he's not happy with what he's seeing. And they're and perhaps he's not happy with what he's seeing, and they're not happy with themselves. Those lost souls that he's encountering, they're not happy with themselves because, well, when you read the other gospels, I don't know which one it's found in, but somewhere in one of them, he reminds them. He says, "I didn't come here." He was being ostracized and criticized and scorned because he was hanging out with lost souls, so to speak. And he reminds them that I didn't come here to, you know, make you feel good about yourself. I came here to heal the sick. You know, you don't go to you go to, if you're feeling okay, you go to the hospital to maybe have a checkup to make sure everything is okay. But you're not hospitalized because you are hospitalized because everything is not okay. So you're in the hospital so that you can get the care and the attention that you need in order to make yourself well or to become healed. And that's what he's here. And that's, I think, what he's trying to tell us in those two passages.
And I think it's interesting here too that he said, I found them all intoxicated. You know, intoxicated, you know, that is a form of where you are, oh, I gotta sneeze. You are attached. Excuse me.
Bless you.
You have imbibed some foreign substance,
and
it has made your brain capacity less than diminished. You know,
it's like a cloud.
But you know, it's something that you have done yourself. You know. Oh, this is Forrest. I lost him.
Oh,
okay, we got you back, Forrest. And also, you know, when we're looking at it, it says because they are blind in their hearts and do not have sight. That lets you know that's very reminiscent of the chakra system, where you have your heart chakra and your third eye, so that you know, those two things are connected. So you know, if my heart is if I'm blind in my heart, I can't see into the spiritual world.
Right.
I can't see where I have a beam in my eye because because my heart is so blinded, and
Mhm.
and it's blinded because of my own intoxication or the thing that I have um ingested, to cause intoxication, so that now I can't I'm off balance.
Mhm.
My I am mentally diminished because of the thing that I have imbibed in.
Mhm.
And I think that also when he's saying that for they came into the world, and empty they seek to leave the world. So it's kind of like, so this is kind of, this is very reminiscent of reincarnation, because
Mhm.
if you're coming into this world to maybe to be empty, that's your whole purpose in coming back here. You didn't come here for an altruistic purpose. You just came here to imbibe in whatever intoxication of the flesh.
Mhm.
Oh goodness. Oh man, let's sip of this. I got this juice, and if I didn't mix it up, the powder of it,
Mhm.
sometimes the powder gets kind of caught up in my throat.
Oh,
I think that's what it is. Something that gives you electrolyte,
energy.
whatever. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Not
Yeah.
energy, but electrolyte.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so this is saying that, when it says that and empty too they seek to leave the world, so they came in here for nothing and they want to leave without anything. But for the moment they are intoxicated. I'm gonna let somebody else go ahead and speak.
When they shake
Lawrence,
off.
Lawrence, what are your thoughts? Thank you. Harriet, did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't. I was going to ask you to.
Yeah, I wish I could make it, but I have to have the phone on the charger. Let me see if I can just turn it around this way, but it won't stay on the table. He was saying that he is learning how valuable love is. Oops. And that with the more you love yourself, it's easier to love somebody else of different, who have different perspectives or different, ways of thinking than you do. Yeah. Say that again.
I said, you know, being a life coach allowed me to be an example to show people how they can grow and higher in their lives. I think God gave me that gift. Life coach is to share my actions of love.
Oh, okay. He said that by his being by his being a life coach, it makes it easier for him to be an example for people,
Mm-hmm.
to show people, you know, love through love through his actions,
Exactly.
and then it's easier for him to display that love because of what he has learned by being a life coach.
Because it's always in the forefront of his mind. This is who I am, and this is how I want people to see me, and I want to be an example to others,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And to me, that's noble, because when you know that you're being watched, whether literally or figuratively, you're going to try and live up to whatever image you feel you have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what integrity is.
Exactly. Exactly.
That you're the same all the time,
Mm-hmm.
whether
Mm-hmm.
whether somebody's witness to it or not.
Exactly. It's kind of like you're I want to say you're conscious, but it's not really your conscious, but it is your conscious being voicing itself through someone, through others, because hey, if this is what I want people to follow, then you know I've got to follow the same path.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not it always do as I say and as you see me do. You know, some people take the attitude, do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, but not as I do. But it should be both.
Mm-hmm.
Do as I say and as you see.
Mm-hmm.
But also say one thing too, I think even like you did with your ministry, you don't have to call yourself a life coach. Pretty much that's what you are, a life coach, because you're an example of how you're helping people as you help me. So I do know that if I'm going through something, I can follow you. Your actions show me your love with your actions of love in prayer. So I think we're praying on this group because we're the example of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Forrest.
They,
Forrest, that did you hear him?
no.
He was just saying that that he also sees me as an example, because the way that I love other people, and that
Mhm.
you know that's and that is how I like to walk. I like to walk by, you know, what I know to be love at the moment. You know, I try to be as honest as as I possibly can. I try to be sincere. I try to be kind. Sometimes it's little, I don't always have it in my voice, I often try to sound kind, or try to choose words that that will show love,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I can
Exactly.
say, pick up the word try, because you can say, I didn't take the word out because try is say like I'm trying to do it, but I think say I do it. You say I'm trying to do it. Try means it's like, am I doing it? Yeah, I can say for you. You say I'm really trying. Say I do instead of saying I try. Because when you say try, it's like me. I try.
Yeah, yeah. I dig that. I dig that. But you know, I don't mind. For me personally, I don't mind try because I don't always do.
Yeah, speaking of that word try, I had a counselor once when I was going through therapy, and uh probably what Forrest was trying to was attempting to get across to us is don't try, just do it.
Hmm. Yeah, but that's why I say
And
I don't. You know, I get that.
and
I
and
do.
and
I
and
get that. But that's I don't have a problem with trying because you
right,
keep if you keep trying, you will eventually do. Because I don't always just because I'm trying it, I don't always do it.
right.
And so I'm just talking about me personally.
Right, right. But I understand exactly where Paul's was coming from. Because like I said, I
Yeah.
had a counselor that more or less told me the same thing years ago.
Right now, in like the ministry in the area, we're doing it. So I'm so happy to be part of this group because I think we're all an example of God.
Hmm. Well, he's still, saying that, he says that we're trying it because we're doing it. I'm not trying it. I'm doing it because that is what I'm living. But see, one thing is that you might see me doing it, but I know I'm trying to do it. I see the effort. I know the effort that I'm putting into it. You might not can see that effort, but I do.
And from
Yeah.
our perspective, you are doing it.
Right. So and that's cool. And that's cool because I mean, and that's what I think that that's what integrity means. And I think that this is what Jesus is saying here is that when he's talking about us, guarding our own garden our brother the way that we would love our own pupils, that we love our own souls, is that
Mhm.
we know how much effort we have to put forth into it.
Mhm.
You know, there's that quote that you see the duck swimming easily on the water, but his feet are really working hard at the bottom. You can't see the
Exactly.
effort that he's
He-
using to propel
to,
himself
to,
forward.
and to
It
keep
looks
himself keep his head
right,
above water.
right. It looks easy, but
Mhm.
there is effort put into it, and I think that that's what integrity is that when we and I think that this is also what Jesus is saying here too, is that I am I purposefully am no longer intoxicated by what the world has told me. The world has told me so many things about being a woman, about being black, about being a single mom, about having a house on my own, about all of these things that the world has told me about myself. Those things that can be very intoxicating. They can either fill your head up and make you heady, or they can make you lethargic and make you not respond as well. They can make you angry. So so now that I'm understanding and I'm shaking the wine off, so that I'm not living only as the world lives. And I think another thing that's kind of interesting in this thing that we haven't really talked about is Jesus said, "I took my place in the midst of the world, and I appeared to them in the flesh." Now that's what it says here on the screen. I got my
Mhm.
book here too. Which one is that?
26,
20,
28.
28. Oh, and yeah, this mine says, "I took my stand in the midst of the world, and in flesh I appeared to them." And I think that that's kind of also important to look at, because now you got to remember that the Gospel of Thomas was one of those Gnostic Gospels
Mhm.
that the Council of Nicaea take
Decide, decided
decided
not to.
against putting into the canon.
Right.
So because in Gnosticism, Jesus was more of a human than of godlike.
So that question, maybe I'll answer question too.
Uh-huh.
So Jesus came to this earth as an example. He was the Christ light. So did Jesus never sin?
Okay. Forrest's question is that Jesus came here as being an example, and did he ever sin? And I'm going to say no, simply because he is the law. That's just in my own understanding, because the law itself, gravity can't help but be gravity. So for me, when people were calling Jesus a sinner, especially when Jesus went to parties, Jesus got drunk, Jesus had women all over him, Jesus was, he ate a whole lot, he just had fun. He was doing everything different than these normal preachers out here. And people would be upset about that, and they called that sin. But Jesus understood that you could enjoy this life and not become judgmental by it, not to harm anybody else in it, not to harm yourself in it. He understood the balance of everything. And I think that when most people have seen Jesus, they and the thing is that he came here, but he was tempted in all things, but he never sinned, simply because he could not sin. He was truth. He just lived everything truthfully. He did everything within moderation. He did everything as not to harm anybody else. He did all the things that he did was in direct correlation to keep his body as high spiritually as his spirit was. That's how I understand it.
Well,
okay, she was giving her an answer.
No, I was going to say, I don't think he would have, it was not in his nature, because first of all, history tells us that he was born of a woman who had never known a man. The Bible tells us the Holy Spirit came on Mary rather. And when the Holy Spirit covered her, that is when she conceived. She was already engaged or betrothed to Joseph. And when he found out she was pregnant, he was ready to ditch her, but he wanted to do it in a civil way. He didn't want to embarrass her. But then he was visited by the angel and told that it was okay. Everything was okay. And so therefore, as you said, Jesus was born, he grew up, and he did everything in moderation, serving us, the rest of humanity, as an example that you can do this if you put your mind to it. And I think that basically, in a nutshell, is the lesson that he tries to teach us when he walked this earth. And it's the message that he has left behind for us in today's society, to try and follow the example that he showed us as he walked this earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I do think that it is interesting that he says that I appeared to them in the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I don't understand, why they would leave out the Gospel of Thomas and put it all in with all of the rest of the Gnostic stuff, because Jesus is saying, this is what I'm seeing here, that I appeared to them in the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not saying that he was only a man, like the Gnostics say. The
Mm-hmm.
Gnostic says that Jesus was just a regular dude. He was born, his mama probably had sex with Joseph. He was born in the regular normal way. There was no mystical thing about it. He was just, you know, he was just a regular dude.
Mm-hmm.
Just a regular guy.
But
But
but those powers that be at the time that the canon that we know as the Bible today was put together, they didn't want us to know or understand that. They didn't want us to have any inkling about that.
about what?
The fact that he was just a regular human being, just like all the rest of us.
Oh, well, that's where for me it's different, because I don't think he was just a regular human being. I think that he was born. I think he was the spirit that came down and came into a human being and was born that way. It won't that him and Mary and Joseph had sex, or Mary and somebody else had sex, and now Jesus was born. And that's what Gnosticism says. That Jesus was just a regular guy. He was just, his mama just got.
So in other words, he had an earthly man.
Father.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
he had an earthly father.
Well,
yeah.
according to the Bible, Joseph was his earthly father, but he didn't have anything to do with his creation.
Right, but that's not Gnosticism.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's not Gnosticism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and see,
Gotcha.
that's why Gnosticism, for me, I have a difficult time with, because me personally, I do believe, everybody else can do what they, believe what they want. I believe that there is, that the Creator came into flesh at that particular point in time in history, in that chronological time in history, to present itself for whatever reason that it did. Now, what salvation is, whether you get off the wheel, or whether you don't go to hell, or whatever that whole purpose is, that's what the purpose of Jesus came to this earth at that particular time. But that's just me, what I believe. And I think that this is what this is saying here, is that I took my place in the midst of the world, saying that he came into the world, which is, the world is always consciousness. I got a Bible dictionary around here somewhere, but and that's something that we're gonna have to start having it beside us when we have these things. We need to have all of these books around, but we don't have to. So we don't have to get up in there. But I do know that the world itself does not mean the planet Earth. The world is
the universe, the whole universe.
Well, it's materialism.
Oh, okay.
But I would, but the next time we get together, Harriet, can you make a note to that we need to look up world in a Bible dictionary?
Okay.
So that we can describe and explain those terms. Yeah, because I'm not even prepared. I got my notebook, but I don't have my pen, and I don't have.
And I can't find mine. I thought I had it, but I can't find it. I know I can put a note in my little note.
Forrest is talking to me, Harriet. I was talking to Forrest that time. I can't hear you. Okay, you're broken up again. Kind of, sort of. Yes. No, I don't know. Maybe you must have moved but I can't hear you.
So I'll just right now.
Right, yeah.
I just
But anyway, and so this is what I'm thinking that, and this is what this paragraph 28, this paragraph 28 is saying, is that when he came here, he found them all intoxicated by the world, by the material lies, by society, by all of this stuff that the material has brought to the world. He said, I found all of them intoxicated. I found none of them thirsty. So he's saying at the time when he came, he didn't even see a thirst for spirituality. That everybody was so entrenched in law. Everybody was so entrenched in doing right. Everybody was so entrenched in um, what it looked like and for appearance's sake. That's why when you were saying earlier, Harriet, that Joseph was going to um, tell people he was going to divorce Mary quietly,
Mhm.
as not to ruin her reputation. Like she won't gonna be ruining, and she still won't gonna have a husband. Where
Right.
where was the husband gonna come from? But I
Mhm.
think that and that's what Jesus is saying here, is that he didn't find he that's not what he found. He found the world um so in involved in its own ego, in its own ecosystem, that he found none of them thirsty. And I thought that that's a really kind of interesting line there.
Mhm.
And then he says eventually they will shake off their wine, meaning they will shake off all of this stuff that holds us back. I mean, all of these things that we have been taught, all of these things that we have believed that aren't really true, that is just keeping our senses dull, and keeping us so that we can't so that we have no light, so that we can't stay awake. And I think I think that that's really interesting in this 28, this paragraph 28. What about you, Harriet?
Um, um,
I can hear you, Forrest.
oh, uh, I, I, I'm looking at it again. Um, what I'm seeing there, uh, what I'm looking at, focusing on is that last line. But for the moment, they are intoxicated, and when they shake off their wine, in other words, when they shake off all the material things of this world, they that's when they will begin to see when that light will come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, let's see. Oh, it's 10 minutes after 4. Oh my gosh. I think we actually did run over.
Oh, okay.
Although we started late, I think we ran over. So
Okay.
let's, we'll start off with number 29 next time.
Right.
We'll start off with number 29.
Let me mark that
So
in my book.
yeah, and I don't have my pen with me, but I'll get it as soon as we get up.
Well, I have a little flag that I move.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, that's today's session. I thought this was a really, really good session.
Yeah, well.
Um, yeah, I thought this was a really good session. I think there's still some things that we can learn. I would like to learn a little bit more. And so I'll start my roundtable. I'll start off with the roundtable first. I would like to, learn a little bit more about who Thomas is. I would like to, look up words like the world, kingdom, light, those words like that. Look them up through metaphysical, for through a metaphysical term, and for spiritual things. But I think that what I mostly learned from this session is how important it is to love and accept yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The more I accept me, the more I love me, the more I intend to grow, the more lenient I am to give somebody else some more room.
Mm-hmm.
To give them all of the time and the space that they need to grow. And just like Jesus is saying here is that um when he came in the world, that they can't, these people come into the world empty and they plan on leaving the world empty. Like parasites. You're not even parasites, because parasites will suck your blood, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but they come here empty and they leave here empty. And I know that that's not what I want to be. I want to come to, I want to leave this world with as much light, fully engrossed and fully engulfed as much as I possibly can. So that's me. So what about you, Forrest? Do you want to go ahead and do your round table now?
Around table, we talked about consciousness, ways of being always aware, and with our actions. Talk about
Oh, hello.
yourself. Love others as you love yourself. So so by example of light, the light comes through. If we're all the example, we go. But that's what I learned today.
Okay, thank you. I think he was saying that one of the things that he learned about is consciousness, how, what that awareness is, how to focus on it, and how to express it, and that when you love yourself, you love others. Did I get you right, Forrest? Okay, good. What about you, Harriet? What did you get from today's session?
I'm going to just piggyback off of what both of you have said, because I want to be able to understand myself, love myself, because that's the only way I can give love to others. And as far as some of the terms that are being used, I want a better understanding, so I can have some clarity as far as what I am reading. And like you said, I'm going to come armed with a dictionary the next time.
Say that again for us. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that would be an interesting study one day. We're gonna have to do a study on soul groups, soulmates and twin flames. I think that
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, we haven't really done a study on that, and I think that would be a good that'd be something interesting to look at, because usually when or what I have read before, so I can't say usually. I don't, like, I know. But what I have read is that that there are soul groups that, and that we are not only mated to one individual, but we are mated with everyone in that soul group.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we run into somebody that, like we met them and we've known them forever, that's because
Mm-hmm.
they're a part of our soul group, and we're just running back into them as a
Right.
friend or a lover, or a teacher or a student or whatever, some type of acquaintance. But there's And
We've
soul
been
groups are,
connected
like,
in a
huge.
past life.
Yeah, soul groups are huge. It's not like, it's just me and you,
Mhm.
it's like it can be like everybody in America. We're all part of a soul group here at this one particular time. So yeah, so that is yeah, we're gonna have to do that as a study. I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Mhm. But okay, so let's see. For tomorrow, we're gonna do tarot. We're in the book. We're gonna finish up the last of the major arcane from 16 to 21, and we will be working on the group of the suit of cups. Yeah, yes, tomorrow from 2 to 4. Yes, from tomorrow from 2 to 4. Yes, yeah, tomorrow from 2 to 4 we'll be doing tarot. And so next Saturday we will not meet on Zoom because we will be doing we're going to go to the
Body, mind, and spirit.
Body,
Expo.
Mind, Spirit Expo, but we'll meet on Sunday for the what you call it, for but I got
Science of mind.
for the Science of Mind. But I'm gonna check with Sarkina because I think that she might be thinking that we're gonna go to the thing. Are we gonna go both Saturday and Sunday? Well, we don't know. I might not make Sunday. Now that I'm thinking about, I might not can make Sunday. I don't know because Hope is doing her class reunion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to count on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, next Saturday we won't meet on Zoom, but we will have some juicy stuff to talk about when we come back from this session, the Saturday session of the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo, because I'm really excited about herbalism and I'm really, really excited about honoring your ancestors. Those two sessions something I was really excited about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it for today. Harriet, would you like to close us out in prayer?
I can.
Thank you.
Okay, let us sit tall, take in a full, deep, cleansing breath. And surround ourselves with the white light of love and protection, keeping us safe from all harm and evil forces that might be trying to get to us. And as we exhale carbon dioxide, sending love to the plants and trees that give us the oxygen that we need to survive. And we want to express our gratitude for this time that we've spent together discussing the Book of Thomas and increasing our knowledge and understanding of what those ancient scholars was trying to tell us and teach us that will help to make our lives better as we walk this earth. And with that, I say, and so it is.
And so it is. All righty, everybody. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.